All right, so this next guest goes by the name Dr. B. And just a little background about me, which is why I have this t-shirt on today. Muhammad Ali, one of my heroes in life. So for me, the greatest sign of heroicism or heroicism or whatever you want to call it is actually being able to go against what's popular and really focusing on what you think is right. And our guest, Dr. Mike Bauerschmidt, effectively called Dr. B, is that. He's a hero in medicine. This is a gentleman who used to be headstrong in the direction of emergency medicine. He ran into a few trials and tribulation in his own personal life and ultimately ends up becoming one of the biggest champions for the people. And when I say for the people, he focuses on people who've been harmed either from their environment or from something that they're exposed to on a regular basis. And he helps them get to the root cause of the issue and then helps them climb back to health. And particularly one of his specialties is mold and mycotoxins. So without further ado, let me introduce to you one of my newfound heroes, Dr. B. What made you decide to go really hard in the direction of fungus and mold toxicity and, where did that come from?
Yeah. Well, like many people that do what I do, it was out of necessity. I had a rather serious mold exposure at a workplace that the workplace, even though it was a medical facility, declined to acknowledge that mold was an issue.
Wow.
And at the time, there wasn't much out there about how can mold affect your health, or if it can, what do you do about it? We knew that water damaged buildings were bad, but we really didn't know what to do about it.
Sure.
So did my own research, came up with a program, and here I am.
And here you are. So because really you're kind of one of the pioneers in the space, because I remember when I first started practicing medicine, it was one of those things like the patient would come in and you would know, they would show you pictures of what was going on in their house or at work, and you would know that their symptoms were coming from it. But one, you couldn't really prove it to anybody because there weren't really any standard tests that we could do for people other than like an eosinophil level, which really didn't tell us anything. Yeah. And so, so it's great to be part of this, being in the space where, mold toxicity is becoming a thing that we talk about even more. So speaking about mold toxicity, and you were exposed to it first in your workspace. We've all gone down in a basement and smelled that dank smell, or it says, ooh, it smells like water damage has been here. Talk a little bit about what some of the symptoms are, because it's kind of a vague, terrible feeling when you got mold toxicity,
this is really, and this is really kind of interesting, Dr. Rachel, because there's actually two forms to mold illness. One is your reaction to the mold and the spores itself, and that's kind of gives you the sneezy wheezies, the runny nose, the itchy eyes, the allergies, and things like that. The mycotoxin illness is another issue entirely, because the mycotoxins are the mold's self-defense mechanism, and it's actually their aggression mechanism as well. It's how they carve out new territory. Well, these mycotoxins are 0.3 microns, and they're a chemical. They don't break down like mold will eventually die off or reproduce and destroy itself. The mycotoxins are there. And the mold produces the mycotoxins in response to threat. That's their, like I said, their defense mechanism. Well, the mycotoxins, so the mold spores will oftentimes colonize your sinuses. And you say, well, I know I was in a moldy building in college. My dorm just had mold all over the place. Why am I sick now? Well, it's because you carried the mold around with you in your sinuses. The mold spores, being 3 microns in size, are the perfect size to be filtered by the sinuses in the upper airway. And you've got mold likes the same temperature we do. It eats the same foods we do. If you ever left something in the refrigerator too long and had the science experiment, that's mold. And also they need moisture. The only thing we can control is the moisture. Well, once you're in the sinuses, they've got everything they need.
Tell me a little bit about your personal experience with the mycotoxins. How sick were you? What were some of the symptoms you were having?
You know, I had closed my functional medicine practice to take this great opportunity where I'd be able to start practicing and prove what I wanted to do with environmental medicine, and that's being able to clean people up. Wow. Great opportunity, except for one small problem. When they built the building, you know, half of it was underground, half of it was above ground. But when they poured the foundation, they didn't do a continuous pour. So they had these things called cold seams through the concrete. This happened to be in an area of the country where it would get, when it got dry, the ground would move away from the wall. When it got wet, it'd turn all mushy and clay and basically trap water along these cold seams. And I first moved there, and I started feeling really tired. I was just like, I got 8 hours sleep, and I'm just exhausted. And then my immune system started to crash and burn, and I kept getting a recurrent infection that actually ended up, I had to end up having several surgeries because I still wasn't, it hadn't clicked here yet. It hadn't clicked in my own mind. And then one day, about 6 months, and my brain fog was so bad, I would be sitting talking to a patient, and I couldn't remember what the last thing was that came out of my mouth.
Wait a minute. So here you are. Mm-hmm. You're already practicing functional medicine when this happens to you. And you're moving to a place so you can help more people. Mm-hmm. And you got exposed in the building you were treating the people in? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. How long had you been there when you started to notice you were feeling
2 months.
Damn. Wow, Doc.
And within 4 months, I was on the OR table.
Oh, my gosh.
And then I had a complication from that should never have happened with me, but it did. And so I was then 6 weeks on TPN, followed by another surgery, followed by more TPN, followed by another surgery. And basically, I had 5 laparotomies in a 24-month period.
Oh, my God. You almost died.
Yeah. Actually, going into the third surgery, I called my son and started saying goodbye.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. And I know the people listening, they're wondering, how does a mold infection morph into something like that?